different parts of the Caribbean have different nationalities that kind of moved in and kind of took them over. And Trinidad and Jamaica are British. Haiti and the Dominican Republic are more of the French. And Brazil was part of all of this as well. But one thing that was really important with them was their oral literature. That means they didn't have a lot of books to read, and most of them couldn't read, especially in the beginning stages of America. When they brought the Africans over from Africa, they were illiterate, which means that they couldn't read. They didn't know how to read or write. And so they told stories, and their stories are very, very rich. And we told this story of Rent a Horse. Okay, the story about Rent a Horse is starring a guy named Buki. And he was picking produce, and mainly it was his yams. They're like sweet potatoes. And he went out in the garden and he just started digging them all up, and he thought, oh dear, how am I going to get these to market? He didn't have cars or his own horse or anything like that. And so he went over to his neighbor, Mariani, and says, can I borrow your horse or your donkey? And Mariani says, oh, it ran away yesterday, so I don't even have one. But if you go to Mr. Toussaint, I'm sure he'll rent you one. But Mr. Toussaint is a very tough businessman, and he can sometimes be very hard to bargain with. But since Buki had so many yams to take to market, he went to see him anyway. And Mr. Toussaint was in his usual haggling mood, and he pointed proudly to his horse and said, well, this is the horse for you, Buki. It is a splendid animal who shouldn't really be carrying yams to market, but I will rent him to you for 15 gourds a day. Now, the gourds are their money. Like we have coins and paper dollars, they had these, whatever it was, called gourds. And Buki's heart sank because he didn't have that kind of money. He only had 5 gourds in his pocket. Well, I'll take the 5 gourds now, said Mr. Toussaint, and when you come to pick up the horse tomorrow, you can bring me the other 10. He didn't know that Buki didn't have 10 more. The next morning, very early, Mariani stood at Buki's front door, and there was the donkey. But I've already rented Toussaint's horse, exclaimed Buki, and he'll never give me my money back. Just then, his neighbor T. Melise, a real trickster, came along, and he heard the conversation. You take me with you, he said to Buki, and I'll get your money back for you. As Buki and T. Melise went to Toussaint's house, T. Melise said to Buki, you stay quiet. Don't you say a word. Let me do all the talking, because I have a plan. When they arrived there was Toussaint. Here's the horse, but I need my 10 gourds first, he said cantankerously. Of course, Buki didn't have the 10 gourds, and he was afraid, but he remembered to stay quiet. Wait a minute, Toussaint, said T. Melise firmly. First, we have to see if your horse is going to be big enough to carry our load. There is no finer horse in the whole village, and you know it, so give me my 10 gourds, or I will regret my generosity, said Toussaint gruffly. With that, T. Melise pulled out his tape measure. Now, do you know what a tape measure is? It's like a yardstick or a ruler, and it's all measured off in equal distance. And so he got out his tape measure, and he started measuring this way and that way, up, down, sideways, all around. And he said, now let me see here. To Buki, you're going to need 18 inches so you can sit in the middle. I'm going to need about 15 inches, so I will sit here, T. Melise said deliberately, while Buki looked on puzzled. What was T. Melise up to? Madame Buki needs about 18 inches, so she can sit behind me, and my wife can sit up front, he continued. By this time, Toussaint was clearly alarmed. You can't do that to my horse, he yelled. You can't put 4 people on the horse. T. Melise just went on measuring carefully, as if he hadn't heard Toussaint. One of your children can sit up here on the horse's neck, and your wife can hold the other baby. Well, by this time, Toussaint had started to sweat. Are you crazy, man? A horse can't carry that many people, he shouted, angrily waving his arms all about. Well, we can try, said Timolees pleasantly. You'll kill him, bellowed Toussaint as Timolees continued to measure behind the horse's ears. We can put my children up here, but they'll have to hang on. Oh, stop this minute, yelled Toussaint in a fit. No, you can't do that to this horse, not at all. Oh, yes, we can, answered Timolees, continuing to measure thoughtfully. You rented the horse to Buki, and Buki is going to need it to take his yams to market. And the whole family has to go along. He can't leave him home alone. Oh, and your new baby can sit here in Madame Buki's lap. And then the saddlebags for the pigs can hang over here. And by this time, Toussaint was really towering in rage. And he answered, the deal's off. No way. The horse isn't a steamboat. Now, don't you try to get out of the deal, replied Timolees, or we'll have to report this matter to the police. Here's Toussaint hurriedly. Take your money back, and here's your deposit. Take your 5 gourds and go away. 5 gourds? Exclaimed Timolees indignantly. You rented your horse for 15 gourds, and now you want to give me 5 back? Do you think we're dumb or something? Timolees turned to look the horse over knowingly. Then Buki, who at this point had not yet spoken, he says, but where are we going to put grandmother? Grandmother? Toussaint was quite beside himself now, and he hollered, here you are, take your 15 gourds. Take the 15 gourds because they weren't his in the first place, right? And he pushed the 15 gourds into Timolees' hand. Take it away and get off my horse. Get away from my horse. And with that, Toussaint leaped up on the horse and he rode away. As Buki and Timolees watched Toussaint disappear in a cloud of dust, they burst out laughing. They laughed so hard the tears were running down their cheeks. Suddenly, Buki stopped laughing. What's the matter, Timolees? I didn't think we could do it, Buki said solemnly. Do what, Buki? Said Timolees. Put grandmother on the horse, replied Buki thoughtfully, whereupon Timolees and Buki set out laughing all over again. Now, what do you think of that story? Isn't that kind of strange? Do you think Timolees was being honest? No, he wasn't. Do you think Buki should have allowed him to do that? No. Because all he gave to Toussaint was 5 gourds, and instead he got 15 back. That's called cheating. It's called sneaking. It's called dishonest. It's called a lot of things. We shouldn't try to cheat our friends, our neighbors, or anyone else out of what is rightfully theirs. I would love it if you could draw me a picture of the story of Buki and Rent a Horse. Okay, are you ready to dance all around the room to ping pong samba? Remember, this is a dance where you hang on to the person in front of you. Ping pong samba, ping pong samba, do 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 do. Ping pong samba, ping pong samba, ping pong samba. I can hear a bass. I can hear like a glockenspiel, drums, and some kinds of shakers. Do you hear that? Ping pong samba, ping pong samba, ping pong samba, do 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 do. Good job. Great dancing. Oh, the old ark's a mover and a mover and a mover, and the old ark's a mover, and I thank God. Oh, the old ark's a mover and a mover and a mover, and the old ark's a mover, and I thank God. Now, I want you guys to maybe somebody could get a drum and play a drum. Old ark, she rock, rock, rock. Old ark, she rock, rock, rock. And I'm going to cough. Old ark, she rock, rock, rock. Somebody else could do some shakers. She rock, rock, rock. Excuse me. Old ark, she rock, rock, rock. Old ark, she rock, rock, rock. Oh, the old ark's a mover and a mover and a mover, and old ark's a mover, and I thank God. Oh, the old ark's a mover and a mover and a mover, and old ark's a mover, and I thank God. So, did you keep up? Old ark, she rock, rock, rock. Old ark, she rock, rock, rock. Oh, the old ark's a mover and a mover and a mover. Old ark's a mover, and I thank God. Oh, the old ark's a mover and a mover and a mover, and the old ark's a mover, and I thank God. That is one of those Negro spirituals that we talked about last time. Sing when the Spirit says sing. That's what I was looking for. This is played with the harmonica. It's a mouth organ kind of thing. And piano. When the Spirit says sing, I'm gonna sing when the Spirit says sing. I'm gonna sing when the Spirit says sing. And praise the Spirit of the Lord. I'm gonna shout when the Spirit says shout. I'm gonna shout when the Spirit says shout. I'm gonna shout when the Spirit says shout. And obey the Spirit of the Lord. When the Spirit says pray, I'm gonna pray. When the Spirit says pray, I'm gonna pray. When the Spirit says pray, and obey the Spirit of the Lord. I'm gonna sing when the Spirit says sing. I'm gonna sing when the Spirit says sing. I'm gonna sing when the Spirit says sing, and obey the Spirit of the Lord. Now that sounds a little bit like a very famous African-American singer by the name of Marian Anderson. And she was just a little tiny girl about your age when she started singing in church, and people were just flabbergasted because of her beautiful voice. And she learned to play the piano when she was about 8, and she went on to be one of the most famous black singers in the world. She sang all over the world. She sang before kings and queens and presidents and all kinds of wonderful things. She especially was really wonderful singing the old spirituals. One of my favorites was, the song about the sparrow. His eye is on the sparrow. And even though that's maybe not a Negro spiritual, but it is a very beautiful song, and I loved hearing her sing. My mom used to sing it a lot too. And so anyway, it is now time for us to wave goodbye. Everybody wave goodbye, wave goodbye, wave goodbye. Everybody wave goodbye, just like me. Wave goodbye to Ruth and Anna and Benjamin and Teddy and Tucker. Wave goodbye to Miss Rowe. Thank you very much. Bye.